morning, afternoon, night. This is We Are Not Prepared, and we are your hosts, Byron
and Mark Ivy.
Hello, good morning, welcome to We Are Not
Prepared.
Wah, 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 wah.
Wickety whack.
Hey there, Marco.
What's going on, Byron?
Okay, before we introduce our guests.
Did you say our dead guest?
Our dead guest. Yes.
It's a hell of a guest.
We're bringing JT up from the grave.
We couldn't get any live guests, so we just go to the morgue.
We're just go to the morgue. We're body snatching. Do you know that that is like surgery, cutting on people in the beginning was against the law. And so the way that surgeons practice, because they couldn't use cadavers, so they would sneak to the morgue and steal bodies so that they could practice.
So where abracadabra comes from?
I don't know.
And also, I'm assuming you're talking about a long time ago, which, let's be honest, probably should be illegal back then. Could you imagine getting cut open in like the 1800s?
Well, yeah, there's no anesthetic.
Right.
So this is for our guests, and then you could introduce it. So I just read this. Hundreds arrested in Atlanta for throwing Molotov cocktails at the police department.
What do they call that? They call it it's an area they call, I was reading that too. It's like it's a notorious area they call something, police something. They're always there.
The protesters?
Yeah. It'll come to me here in a sec. But
well, they're in jail now, so.
Okay.
Well, now with that, welcome, JT.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Jay Teagle, who's not in jail.
Thank God.
Yeah. Thank God you flew to Oklahoma, man. We would have to bail you out.
Man.
We would pony up the money to bail you out to be on the beat baseball team. Yeah.
Great.
Now, what position do you play?
What position do I play? Center fielder?
For those of you who do not know, B baseball team is the blind baseball team. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's baseball for the blind. And Jay, I'm gonna give you a quick. You fill in any blanks, but essentially everyone's blindfolded except for the pitcher. And the pitcher is on your team. So the pitcher wants you to hit the ball. And if you hit the ball, there are 6 defenders, all blindfolded, ready to try to capture that ball. And there's also sided spotters that yell out zones. So like you have some idea that the ball's coming in your area. And if the defender controls the ball before you reach the bag, you're out. If you reach the bag before the defender controls the ball, it's a run. And there's only 2 bags, first and third. And when you hit the ball, one of those bags will randomly start beeping 100 feet away, and you run to it, try to touch it before they control the ball.
Now, if you're completely blind, do you have to be blindfolded also?
Yeah. They don't trust us.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't trust the blind.
Well, no, we have a guy with glass eyeballs on our team.
Exactly. So to add to what Mark was speaking about as far as running to the base, just a bit of clarification. It is beep baseball. Only thing that beep is the ball. The bases have a long tone. So to keep confusion going on, is no beeping of the bases, only the ball. So the people in the outfield have to listen to the beeping of the ball, and the runner or the batter has to listen to the long tone until he reaches the base.
Yeah, so the beep baseball is beep, 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 beep. And when the base buzzes, it's until you touch it. Let's just do that the whole podcast. So, yeah.
You do the bases and I do the ball.
Here's the hit. It's the most annoying sport in the history of sports.
How long have you been playing, JT?
I started in 2018. I was a late bloomer. I was introduced to it in 2018, but I've been knowing about it for all my life.
Now, have you been blind all your life?
Pretty much since I was 6.
Six.
Medical malpractice.
Really?
Correct.
And so,
What happened?
Steven Johnson syndrome. Well, I was at school, fell off the merry-go-round, and hit my head on the concrete and caused my brain to swell. So they took me to the hospital, gave me some medication to reduce the swelling. Unfortunately, it was the wrong medication, and it caused my blindness. So literally, I had 3 phases of vision: sighted till I was 6, totally blind till I was about 11, and then it started gradually coming back. So now I'm a low partial.
Okay. That malpractice is what paid for your flight into Oklahoma.
I wish it was. I wish it did, but they off the attorney. So that's another podcast.
So I didn't know. So I'm also getting to know you really for the first time off the field. So
Correct.
I didn't know that either. So what you explained to me when you walked in here, or inside versus outside.
Cool. So with my vision now, I have depth perception. It goes from 6 feet to 60. Inside with artificial lighting is only about 6 feet until my eyes get adjusted. Outdoor lighting, which is original lighting, it extends to 60 feet on an overcast day. Now, if it's a bright, sunny day, it's
Gonna be
probably
a
about
bright-
6 inches.
6 inches.
6 inches. So that's why I'm allowed to use a guiding cane.
Yes, I'm. The last few years, sunny days it's brutal. It's light perception is starting to really be a big impact on my eye disease, which usually starts with just night blindness and peripheral loss. But now that light, I mean, I'm wearing sunglasses all the time.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you got a different contrast that we were speaking about earlier, that really bothers my vision when it's a real bright sunny day because all the contrast is clashes.
Yeah. So you love being Byron, being black and white, because that is the best contrast.
Ain't nothing like it.
Yeah.
I am actually writing down in my book right now, 1 and 1. JT, you actually fill our box by having somebody that is seeing impaired on and having someone that is black. And so thank you very much. You've helped us to reach our quota.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're answering to our shareholders.
Right. We do have. So what was it like? Do you live like in a predominantly African-American community?
I know I met a couple of African Americans, but I grew up in a more black community.
That's what I like, a little smart ass here.
Check the box.
See, I am so I was trying to be proper, and because so you grew up mostly black,
Yeah.
and so
Well, I don't want to say mostly, it was mixed.
how did your family adjust to your blindness and friends and school?
It's interesting that you asked that question because this is one of the critical moments that I always tell my clients when I first meet them because a lot of my clients are newly blind. So what I tell them is the most important thing is to have a support system. And my family never allowed me to know or to accept that I was blind. I'll give you a quick story. I was probably about 7, and this is after my vision I was in my totally blind stage. And I asked my grandmama why I can't wake up. They never told me I was blind. So I was thinking I was just still sleeping, walking around like, why I can't see nothing? Why can't I wake up? They never told me that. To this day, they never told me that I was blind. I didn't find, when I found out I was blind? When I went to public school. And you know how the little kids are mean and bully and stuff like that. That's when I found out I was blind. What an interesting way to find out that you were blind, but it helped me, build such a interesting character for myself, outgoing, because I never talked for a while. You couldn't tell from today, but I never talked because I never, particularly when people are ridiculing you or joning you or making fun of you, how you know what to say back to them? And I had a couple of friends who would take up for me or whatever. And so with that being said, having family members to treat you as such that you are normal just like everybody else, That's why I have the courage and will that I have, because they never let me know. I'm 7 years old, totally blind with a bike. Somebody would ask, well, why would you buy a blind child a bike? Why not? He's in the backyard fenced in. Where is he gonna go? So with that courage, them not let me know that I got all the courage in the world. I'm one of the only blind people that don't have any problem going across the water. I've been overseas by myself more than once.
Now, are you married?
I used to be. No.
Used to be.
Same with Byron.
So, are you available right now?
Single.
Okay, we could help you. What kind of woman? Okay, I don't want to take that for granted. Are you looking for a woman mate?
I'm looking. I don't know what I'm looking for right
In
now.
Oklahoma, he is. You dog, Okie dog.
Right.
Looking for a cowgirl.
Mark and I can help you with this.
Gotcha.
Because really, we sideline as a pimp.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
They call us the love gods.
Wow.
But it's mostly we say that to each other.
I got you.
He gets us into the areas that we need to be in.
Oh, okay.
You know, because I can't just stroll in there.
Right.
So Byron gets us in, and then I start wheeling and dealing,
Right.
and then that's how we support this podcast.
Yeah. So, what kind of partner are you looking for? You think?
Someone is not in to the climate of the world, meaning that we are in a climate right now where cancellation at its highest when it comes to men. So any woman that's not into counseling men for whatever reason, or just not on their what's the word I'm looking for? Not so into whatever the climate is doing at this time.
So you're looking for kind of a traditional.
Yeah, because I'm old school. I mean, I'm kind of young, but I still have a lot of old school values.
So, yeah,
You're looking for what women have been trying to break away from for 100 years. I hear what you're saying. Have you ever dated a blind girl? A girl who is blind?
Let me see. Well, I guess I was gonna say yes and no, but I guess it would be yes. She was newly blind, so it was one of those type of, I don't have anybody else. You're the only one that can, show me, teach me, and stuff like that. So
she said that she was using you.
Well, pretty much.
Wow.
Well, but it was a good use though, because she didn't have anybody around her like I had to support her in her endeavors, and because it's a whole psychological thing you have to go through when you lose your vision. And you're talking about somebody who's been 40 or 50 years old working full time at the Federal Reserve Federal Reserve, and they lose their vision, and nobody's around to support them. That's a lot to take.
Yeah, losing your vision when your life is set up, and like I always think about folks losing their vision later in life when everything is it's just as tough. Some people think, well, losing your vision at a young age is like the worst thing ever. Well, sure, it stinks, but at least you are like my younger brother who lost his vision before I did. Like he gets around better, and like he is more in, like assistive technology. Like he's kind of prepared for whatever he needs to do to stay independent. I'm not saying I am, but it's I'm a little behind, and we see that a lot with our clients.
Yeah, his adaptability as far as being able to make changes on the fly is more apt to be done when you're younger versus older, because you're kind of stuck in your ways.
So as we look, blindness is on the table, so you're not discriminating against blind. BTBB.
Okay,
bring that blind booty.
Speaking of which, thank you. What a great segue. Have you ever used a bidet?
Yes, when I went to Cambodia and Thailand, yes. That's all they have.
Warm water or cold?
Warm.
So, see there?
I've never had the warm bidet. I've always had the, shocker.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
Yeah, Mark. See, this is We probably have more differences over the bidet than anything else.
Really?
Yeah. It's color, blindness we get along with. You get to the bidets and we just separate.
Yeah, when we get to the temperature of the water, shoot, we tend to not see eye to eye.
but see, if you understand germs and how they grow and how they die, technically the cold probably is better for you from the spread of germs because you don't have to worry about the bacteria materializing versus a hot or warm. You have more of a chance. It feels better, but is it actually better for you in the physical sense? And I actually think bidets are much more cleaner than actually toilet paper because you get a clean spray every time.
Boom.
People don't understand that.
Boom, baby.
Boom. I'm liking you. Okay, ladies, JT is a good-looking man, and as long as you're willing to cook, wash dishes, and make the bed.
He's got the cleanest hiney this side of Mississippi.
We should have a contest.
What?
Checking heinies.
Oh, I don't want to be a part of that one.
You know?
Nah.
So now, so you're kind of a stud then. If they flew you in, you're like the LeBron James of this basketball.
Am I?
Well, they flew you in.
Oh, he flew himself in. He flew himself in.
They don't like me like that.
We will, when it comes World Series time, we'll hook him up.
They flew. Oh, you flew they made you pay your own way? Okay. You need a manager, JT.
Can't get a manager.
I mean, see, okay.
But this, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but this is my thing. This is not a theory. This is my fact.
Okay.
And I hope that people who listen will understand this. People who have to pay their way is much more responsible than people ways you have to pay.
That is true.
So I figure if I can show them, hey, y'all don't have to pay my way. Let me come and show you what I can offer, and that way y'all don't have to worry about wasting money. Because a lot of people who are waiting for you to send them and bring them in, they're going to be the biggest problem on the team. And I seen that not just on the amateur level.
Yeah.
I seen on the pro level. Those guys who wants to be brought in and be paid to, well, if you want me, you need to pay for me to come. They the biggest problem on the team. So character-wise, as a player and as a man, I feel like it's my job to present myself to say, hey, this is the character type of guy that you're going to get and the type of player you're going to get. I'm responsible. You can depend on me, and this is what I got to offer. If you like it, fine. If you don't, okay, I take my talents elsewhere.
Okay, so that's what so do you think just between you and me, I won't tell Mark, do you think you got game?
Oh, I know I got game.
Oh.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him the LeBron, or as my my grandpa said, Lebron. I was like, Paul, that's LeBron. I would say Scottie Pippen, maybe some Gary Payton, like
really?
Just top-notch defender. Nothing's getting by him. Yeah, that's when we played our first game and they live streamed it. And I went back and watched. It was just like the ball hit, and it's very calm. Like a lot of people will throw or hold the ball up or out, holding it, and JT's just ball. And I was like, how many has he got now? Like 6? Like JT with another grab in the middle, and just like a vacuum. And I was like, this guy.
You guys can't see my face, but there's tears rolling down my cheeks. Because I'm going, here's the black, the supporting the stereotype. We are all athletes. Thank you. Thank you, JT.
Right. Even blind.
Blind.
Right, that's the other thing we can do. Sing, dance, hit a ball.
But can you do all those things together?
Yeah.
So you grew up in Atlanta.
Correct.
But it sounded like you traveled a lot. You went to Cambodia, Maine, North Carolina.
I stayed in North Carolina, Nebraska. I stayed at Washington. I was in the RS training program. I was up there for training. So I did that for a couple of months.
Harvest?
Washington, Seattle.
Like the bank?
No, RS.
Oh, okay. What is that? IRS.
IRS.
Excuse me.
Rehabilitation Services.
Sorry. Well, I'm making sure.
Internal Revenue Service. That's what I
I
should have
got you.
said.
IRS.
Yeah, correct.
You worked for the Internal Revenue Service?
I was hired 2015, but I didn't complete my training because my ex-wife passed away. So I had to go back and retrieve my kids in a court battle situation. So I didn't finish my training, so I had to leave. And leave. Then it was weird because I got a job and I had to leave. My job before I even started because I was supposed to start in June and I left in March.
How long ago was this?
It was 2015.
Can I ask how your wife died? We don't have to get into it.
I'm trying to remember. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay, folks, we'll get back to you on that.
Well, you know what? It's childbirth.
Childbirth. Okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was not my child though. It was somebody who she was cheating on me with.
So birth complications.
Yeah.
You know that everything JT says, I could just go down this whole rabbit hole and just ask him questions about that. You're a fascinating man.
Thank you, sir.
And you worked for the IRS, but then you left. But you still have traveled a lot. You sound like, tell me if I'm wrong or right, you just sound like that life is an adventure for you.
It has been.
But you kind of make it that way too, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It sounds very, very exciting.
Yes.
And next time you come on, Mark and I will hook you up with a woman, or not a woman. We'll hook you up with someone.
Wow.
Who could put up, because you need a woman
keep an open mind.
that will like not be afraid to get it in your giblets.
Get in your giblets.
I just made that up.
That's why I said it sounds like some chicken gizzards or something like some Oklahoma dish.
Well,
famous dish.
You need somebody that's not going to be intimidated by you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Do you think JT is intimidating?
No, I just think he's a very, like, he has opinions. And so he needs a woman that is not afraid to give her opinions right back to her.
Well, not even that. Just being able to dialogue. It's okay. I don't mind us disagreeing, but let's have a conversation. Let me explain to me why you feel the way you feel, and I explain to you why you feel the way you.
Talking Byron's language now.
You understand? I don't mind you having an opinion, but always understand that we both have our own roles to fulfill. You know, you understand your role, and let me understand my role. And don't try to say, well, just because I'm gonna do it, it's gonna be this way. I like having discussions. I like dialogue, and I like, having an open diatribe.
JT, this is just beautiful. Our time's almost up, Mark.
We have. Are we going part 2? Or are you running off? You're running off.
No, I can stay. So we'll end part 1.
Want to wrap up and keep talking?
Outtakes. Don't forget the outtake, the bloopers.
This whole thing's a blooper.
We're looking for the intakes, remember?
Okay.
All right. If this is all you're listening to, this is Mark and
Byron
saying thank you, for we are
not
prepared.
Adios. Welcome back to part 2 of We Are Not Prepared. We still got JT in the hizzy. Byron can't get up, so he's still here.
I am.
Let's keep the ball rolling.
Well, I'm like one of those robots. I only have enough input to last for one show.
Oh, wow.
And so I have to restore my battery and get going. Okay. So JT was telling us, and if you miss part 1, we have JT, who's a professional black athlete on our show, and things that he said. He wants a woman who is basically barefoot, pregnant, and washing dishes. but that she's also very spunky. And he's traveled running from the IRS to Cambodia,
wow. No,
Maine, and where else did he say? North Carolina?
Arkansas. Nebraska.
I've been everywhere, man.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
So, you at the last part you talked about canceled. You used the word canceled. You talk about what does that mean to you? That word when you hear that.
You talking about cancel culture?
Yeah.
Well, the fact that we can't have opinions anymore. Everybody's so hypersensitive now. And the sad part about it is that we have gotten to a state of taking someone's job away from them because they said something you didn't like. How did we get to that point in this world or this country to where just because I said something, I have to lose my job? I can't pay my bills no more. And that bothers me, that we as a country okay with that. That just because you say you don't like my shirt, you gotta.
I don't think we're okay with it. Yeah. I agree, but Byron and I have talked about this before too. Cool. I'm gonna take my angle is that we are made to believe that is the majority of our country, when I think it's the minority, that we're just getting that stuff shoved in our face every single day, whether it's the news, social media, TV. And because everywhere I go, well, actually, you probably got you've been everywhere. Do you experience that stuff?
Yes.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Maybe I need to leave Oklahoma. Maybe I need to leave this room.
Isn't it funny when people will say things that just kind of shut you down and go, okay, I can't go to that question.
Right.
I will say, I mean, I have been other places to where I honestly get there and I forget it was somewhere in DC a few years back. There's a lot of hostility going on, all that junk. But you get there and I remember the first thing I thought was, that's fake. Like, it's not, I'm not saying it's fake, but it's not what we're made to believe it is. Like, every encounter I had was awesome.
Right.
And I just kept thinking, like, maybe, because comedians talk about it all the time too, is like they're afraid to talk on stage.
Right.
And I just think that it's some just people hiding behind their keyboards every now and again saying, well, I didn't like him saying that.
Well, they call them thumb gangsters.
Thumb gangsters. I haven't heard that one.
It's pretty good saying.
Yeah.
I think it's really deeper. I think it's a spiritual, where I almost think there's something more that really tries to rob us of our uniqueness as individuals.
That's number one. I agree.
And so that there's always been an oppression to keep our individual selves in control. And so now you could do that through media, but so now it tells us, what things we could think about, what things we could really talk. How old are you, JT?
I'm 45, I'll be 46 in June.
So I'm 70. And when I was younger, like, I knew if somebody was doing a racist act because they were like trying to shoot me or beat me or chase me or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was like no question about what the intent was. So it's interesting now because people can just say a word and you go, well, that is that's racism. I go, I just struggle with that because I think, once again, we get to cancel culture because we stop people from just expressing themselves.
Right.
Did you experience as a blind Black person? You're 45, so did you deal with racism growing up, JT?
Nah, more so. Our racism is dealing with the fact we don't want you because you're blind. That's the blind culture racism.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So unfortunately, you haven't had to deal with that yet. And I hope you don't. But our racism is the fact that You blind, so ain't nothing you can do for us. But
I tried to get jobs before I worked here. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I don't know to the magnitude of probably what you're talking about, but I've experienced a little bit of you're blind, you can't do it. But I've also as I've grown to understand just what it means to have a disability and what it means for the other end of that person who does not. A lot of the time, it comes down to them being educated on what it means to walk in my shoes. So like if I could explain back, so if I could go back into certain interviews I recall, and at the time I didn't even know how to use a cane. So I didn't know anything about being blind. So everything they were telling me about why that job might be tough, I was just full-heartedly believing them because I was like, oh shoot, that would not be a good fit for me. But they didn't. I was the first blind person they met, so they didn't know. It's not like they were mean, and I'm not saying there aren't mean people, but I do always want to throw that out, that it's a lot of the time it's folks not knowing what they don't know.
All right, so I'm gonna ask this question, and either one of you can answer this. So when you walk in, when a blind person walk into a store with this cane and the cashier is sighted, so human sense or common sense doesn't kick in and say, "Hey, sir, how can I help you?" I think you giving them an out to say they not educated. Some stuff is just common sense. If you see somebody with a adaptive aid, some kick in and say, well, hold on, let me see, sir, can I help you? Is it anything I help you? Not to say, oh, they're not educated, because now you're giving them an out. Certain things is not an excuse to say, well, I'm going to get them out because they wasn't educated, they never been around blind people, or blah, blah, blah. No. Ain't no such thing as they not educated. Some stuff is just supposed to be common sense or humanality.
Human curiosity. I'll tell you so I've went out and eaten like at a restaurant or had coffee with blind friends, and where you are it's obvious that the person I'm with is blind, and I will have wait staff come up and ask me, what do they want? And I go, what? They could order their own food. I mean, that's a person over here. And just not even wanting to engage enough to have a conversation and say, well, because it's uncomfortable. Or
yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's happened to me before.
Too, yeah. Now, to me, I think there's just, that's not uneducated. That's ignorant to me. Because if you see me come in with somebody and this person may have a disability or whatever, why do you automatically assume that's because they are lazy? They don't want to interact with that. And in a way you can't get mad because they're really showing you who they really are. And that's what we have to accept. And that's why I have to teach some of my clients, because that's one of their frustrating moments.
But I think that you could increase someone's awareness. Like, let's say if you did an awareness campaign that says it's very important that you talk directly to people with disabilities, and that was all on the TV and stuff, eventually people would start paying attention to that. There would be people who would ignore it. But it's like, okay, we were talking about the whole subject of being called colored. You know, when I grew up, it was just very normal to call all blacks colored. But awareness changed with that. And so people don't do that anymore. Not saying that every person isn't racist, but people quit call. And so I do think there's a certain amount of awareness that can happen with people.
I think Debbie, so you know Debbie Sanders, she's low vision. She runs My Limitless Vision. I'm pretty sure it's Debbie who has a card that she will leave at restaurants with like a QR code. And it's for that because unfortunately restaurants and anywhere outside of anywhere you go, they're not training their staff how to interact with someone who is blind or whatever the disability might be. So she leaves that there so that her motto is the next blind person they come in to engage with, that they will be aware and so that that experience is better. Which I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but the root of it though, like that, and I do think we're getting there. Like I know a lot of private business, the private sector, they're all about the DEI now, and so hopefully before too long, that is the world we live in. But until then, that's why I always go back to whether you call it advocating for yourself, but how do I, whether it's an Uber driver, whatever it might be, how do I make the next experience better for that sighted person when they come across a blind person?
Correct.
Because that, again, I what you're saying is correct, but I don't want to just say, well, that person's just ignorant. What if I've known people, like, they get kind of anxious if they see someone with a disability, or they don't know if they want to be helped, or like there's just a lot of like unknowns, and depending on how that person is wired, that sighted person, that might be the leading cause of them. Maybe they're just waiting for someone to let know what I mean. Which I'm not saying that's an excuse or anything, but that's where I do kind of juggle the two between, and I've had both. I've had folks who are just like, that might be who this dude or gal is, but
I know for myself. And I just cut you off. I'm sorry.
I was done.
My bidet, buddy. But I know for myself, I have these areas of prejudice that I won't interact with people. And I have to push myself to do that. Like I've had to do that with the homeless, and to actually go up to homeless people and say, hello, my name is Byron. What is your name? Because I used to just look away at the homeless. Or, I mean, there's always this group I have this prejudice against that I have to push myself.
Mm-hmm.
You awake, JT?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Man, we ran out of steam in part 2, didn't we?
We never run out of steam.
No.
But there's other things that we could ask. Okay, if you were an animal, what animal would you be, JT?
You dog.
Hey, is your name
Probably
JT?
Probably a lion.
Really? Because?
Because lions, they probably. Well, I'm okay. Cause you said one animal or two. Because I'd say lion number one.
Okay.
And a whale would be number. Well, whale would be number two. Whale would be number one. Lion would be number two. And the reason why, because one is big, quiet, stay to itself. The other one is ferocious and, don't nobody, mess with them.
Huh.
And that kind of exemplify my personality at times. Like, I could be real reserved and quiet. And then sometimes, like, we get on the field, I'm like, I'm in another zone.
So
or if I'm playing darts, I'm in another zone.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like ferocious when it comes to darts or, playing beat baseball.
So a lion. Trying to combine those two words. Well. Well. What would you be, Mark?
Monkey for sure.
Because
just curious or hopping around, shenanigans. No one. They're just. I feel like they're always having fun, throwing poop at each other.
Is the poop,
jungle gym.
Is the poop.
They use bidets too,
and they don't have to use bidets.
Yeah. It would be very nice if they did, though. The first.
Stop using your tongue, monkey.
This is the first. So,
what about you, Byron?
Turtle.
Oh, wow.
Snapper?
No, I like turtles because they just kind of plod along. They see like where they want to go, and they just plod along, and they're just a very steady walking.
Mm-hmm.
Although sometimes they get run over because they forgot there's a highway,
or picked up and fingernail polish on their show.
Yeah,
so
like, hey, knock it off with the finger polish.
Right.
His turtle going, what the heck? I'm walking over for breakfast and some lady picked me up and put fingernail polish on me.
They're just, what is that smell? So do you hate plastic straws since you're a turtle, Byron?
I don't use straws.
Because you're a turtle.
Thank you very much. JT, thank you very much for coming with us today and spending
an hour.
For
letting me on.
This has been a blast, and you give hope to a lot of people. So thank you.
I hope so. I appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mark.
No, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, New View.
And possibilities.
Thank you very much.
I like that.
Till next time.
This is Blind Man and
I thought it was Bidet Man.
This is the warm bidet man.
He said warm bidet.
Yeah, no, I'm cold. Yeah, we got the warm blind bidet man. I'm the cold blind bidet man. This is the no bidet black man.
Okay.
And this has been We
Are
Not
Prepared.
Goodbye, everybody.
Have a good day.